Hello and welcome to another video. And in this video I just prepared a wonderful video. This video is about what is happening among Asians with the deportations from ICE. Okay, so stay towards the end because I prepared a really good one for you.
So word on the street is they're only deporting Hispanics. Here's a video to prove otherwise.
I say you know.
What's your name, sir?
Hey,
Say your
Jason.
name. Say your name.
Jason.
Are you from here? Oh my God, they're just taking this man, dude.
I say you.
Dude, you guys. This is so scary, you guys. Poor man, dude. Like so many people are taking.
Now, as y'all saw, that guy was obviously not Hispanic. He was Asian, and it seems he was getting deported. What do you guys think about this?
So I'm actually seeing the topic on why Asians don't speak up when it comes to a protest or speaking up for our rights. Because they honestly do not think they're a minority. A lot of Asians live under that whitewashed world. And that comes from me speaking from experience as a Vietnamese woman with black kids. I've heard every racial slur there is. Why are you with a black man? Your kids are gonna be dark. Your kids are gonna be like charcoal. Majority of Asian people are Trump supporters. They don't speak up, they don't fight, they don't speak on the situation, they don't even like talking about the situation. And when they do, they sound stupid and ignorant. They don't like doing that because in their mind, they're white. Majority of Asians feel the whiter the skin, the better. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. That's why they don't speak up. That's why they don't make a scene when it comes to fighting for our rights. Because they think this is not going to affect them. As if 12 Vietnamese nail techs just didn't get deported because they're illegal immigrants. So let's be clear on why this is happening and who it's happening to, because it's just not Mexicans, okay?
And yes, and many of these Asian people is saying, okay, black community was right. We never should have just voted for the orange buffoon. And the more surprising thing is just like they are deporting people to other countries that they don't belong. It's just like so incredible. People were they don't have no nexus. Some of them they just hide it in a hotel. They deported to Panama and they just take the cell phones away. They take always identification, passports, or anything that they can identify those people. They took away communications, and we, the taxpayers, we are paying for this freaking mess. We are paying for these people being deported to Panama. We are paying for these people to be deported to South Sudan. We are paying for these people to be deported to all these countries, Salvador, and put in jails, okay? We're just paying for this. It is just so crazy. It is so crazy. And nobody's escaping. And some, I think the approval of Donald Trump now is in 28%, in the 20s, 20%, 28% or something. But nobody likes him. Nobody wants him in power. But this is what you voted for. The Asian people, this is what they voted for, the ones that voted for Trump.
Really dependent. Asian people are really dependent on, migrant labor, right?
So I've been seeing people like stitch this video. This video has been going viral. I've seen people stitch this video. And I don't know why y'all did not clock this part. I finally seen the entirety of this video, and I don't understand why y'all didn't clock this man when he said this. Specifically talking about Asian people don't depend on migrant work, which is just heavily not true, right? I lived in California, for example, I lived in California for 3 years. I lived in Huntington Beach, California. Okay? So in between there is Santa Ana, Irvine, Costa Mesa, and a place called Garden Grove. Garden Grove ain't nothing but a Chinatown. It's a big Chinatown, bigger Chinatown. That's what it is. Okay? You go in there, you see a lot of migrants. And you also see Hispanic migrants in there working. Okay? That was the biggest lie he could have ever told on the internet. Trying to exclude Asians as if they also are not a part of this American system of using migrants. They're cheaper labor. And they work hard as hell. Okay? The other lie that he told is that, and this is a lie that's been told for years, y'all know that majority of the illegal immigrants that come over in this country come over due to student visas and work visas. This has already been researched. You can look this shit up. All right? People overstaying their visas. That's it. Okay? A lot of people do not jump that damn fence. Okay? And so I don't understand why people just get on here and start lying.
And so many people asking Asian creators to speak up about the whole riots in LA and all these deportation things. What is there to say? We support the deportations of illegals.
Sir, you look like the immigration issue you're ranting about. So the projection is wild because you look very illegal.
Asian people aren't really dependent on, migrant labor.
The loss of immigrants has the potential for a full economic collapse because of significant GDP reduction, labor shortages, increased prices, reduced consumer spending and demand, and billions lost in tax revenue. An economic collapse affects everyone. Immigrants make this country thrive.
This presidency promised that they would deport illegal immigrants. They're doing that. Why are you crying? You see it like these immigrants are waving the flags of other countries, burning down the flag of the U.S., and then you think Asian people want to support that? No, they want to stay away from that. They don't want to be grouped in with these people. Asian people don't want to focus on the negativity and say what they're really thinking. Deport, right? Deport illegal immigrants.
He is the embodiment of the model minority, which was created to pit Asians against other marginalized groups, rewarding obedience, silence, and hard work with crumbs of white approval. And he ate that up. Tap dancing for people who don't even want you here. No matter how hard you try to prove you hate yourself more than they ever could, and try so hard to distance yourself from the very people who fought for the rights that you now leech off of. You can grovel all you want for white validation, but you'll never earn validation from the same people who call you Kung Flu and China virus. Remember that? Kung Flu and China virus? You are not native. So how do you think it is that you were able to come to the United States? You think it was the whites who just kindly handed you an invite into our country out of the kindness of their heart? No, you got here because black and brown people, far braver than you, bled in the streets. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 made it possible for you to live your American dream as the oppressor's lapdog. You're welcome. The people brave enough to fight out in the streets are the same people keeping you here. That fight going on right now is again a fight that you will benefit from just so that you can parade around like you earned those rights when you have never fought for anything in your weak little existence. Not your people, not your dignity, not even yourself. But be careful, because if they deport all of the people who fight for our rights, you might find yourself in an internment camp, because who's going to fight for you? You don't even fight for yourself.
And I like how she talked about the reality of what's happening with Asian people. And it's a lot of colorism in the Asian people. I just don't know if you know why they wear their umbrellas. If you see people, Asian people walking on the street, most of the time they are wearing an umbrella, they are wearing a hat, they are covering themselves from the sun. And it's just not only because they want to save their skin and they just don't want to just get the real reason why they do that is because they don't want their skin to be dark. Because if they have the skin darkened or dark, they are considered to be poor or to be people, because the people in China, in places like China, Philippines, all those places, okay, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason why they don't want to just their skin be burned or be darker is because this in those countries is considered the darker skin, they are poor, or they are people that work in farms, because most of the time the people that are the darker skin is people that work in farms, so they don't want to mess up with their white skin. And that's one of the reasons. And I like how this last girl, she talked about the whole situation, and she go deep into the Asian culture and how they are letting this to happen to the people, okay, and they are not saying anything or talking about anything that is happening right now in the Asian community. It's few more girls and few more people that we're gonna be talking about, so stay towards the end.
So I had come across Ajima Dumpling's video in regard to her talking about how there were 150,000 Koreans in the U.S. who are subject to deportation under Trump's new immigration policy, and how a lot of these Koreans are actually Korean adoptees who could face deportation. Now, I wasn't quite sure where she was getting her source of information in regard to the number, so I went to investigate and research a little bit more on that. And there has been a long history of citizenship issues when it comes to Korean adoptees. Now, many Korean adoptees who were brought to the U.S. as children, often through international adoption agencies, were never fully granted automatic citizenship status because of the way the adoption and immigration laws were structured at that time, which this is going to turn into a shit show for a lot of Korean adoptees. The report that I read stated that there are 20,000 Korean adoptees who could face deportation because of the adoption issues, citizenship issues that happened long ago. So when I went to go investigate and research, this came up as one of the articles in regard to Ajima Dumpling's video, which tracks because they're saying that there is 150,000 Koreans in the U.S. I think that's a rough estimate. I don't actually think that's the actual number, because the number of Korean nationals that are currently living in the U.S. without legal status is probably much higher than this. And it's quite difficult to track those numbers, so I'm guessing that this is a rough estimate. Now, I had to cut off part of this article because there is a picture down there that they screenshotted from X, and for TikTok guideline purposes, I cannot show it because it talks about CP. This was the second article that I had found in regard to Trump's new immigration policy, and this being the first Korean that was jailed under Trump's new policy. However, it was because he had CP on him. It wasn't really about papers. The White House didn't really state his legal status. It's just heavily implied because he was picked up by ICE. Now, since Trump has implemented his immigration policy, there's a lot of fear and a lot of people who are scared right now in the Korean communities around the country. Even Korean international students who are here for school and working part-time jobs. Now, Korean international students do hold legal visas, they're student visas. However, those F1 student visas do have restrictions, which includes off-campus jobs. Those are a no-no with your F1 student visas. Now, there is a report that ICE raided a Korean restaurant in Virginia where they checked legal status verification of all the workers, all the employees in that restaurant, where they came across a Korean international student who held a student visa, and unfortunately, student visas restrict them from getting off-campus jobs, and consequently, the Korean student was arrested. Now, this is a disaster, not only for the Korean community, but also for Korean adoptees. This is a very scary time for all immigrant communities and for Korean adoptees right now, and we'll have to see how this plays out.
Students are gonna fuck around and find out. The Trump administration is not playing around because Chinese national who organizes pro-Palestinian rallies over at UCLA College, Lu Lijun, has just had her visa revoked. So let me know in the comments how you feel about this entire situation. Do you think what the Trump administration is doing is disregarding the people's freedom of speech? Or do you think anti-Semitic hostility towards the Jewish people is completely wrong? And that people like this should face consequences in doing so? Regardless, Lu Lijun is going to be on the next plane back to China. My whole thing is this: did you spend and waste the money to come here to learn, or did you come here to protest and just create havoc? Especially not being from the USA, why are you even protesting here? Do people think that protesting here is going to stop what's going on over there? Regardless on whatever side you take, let me know in the comments how you feel about this entire situation. Is it right or is it wrong?
On a Homeland Security investigation bust in Los Angeles, according to a post on X, 36 Chinese and Taiwanese nationals were arrested for being illegally present in the United States. Video shows them here detained, handcuffed, and being loaded onto vans. No word on the exact location. According to the Post, the arrests were made during an enforcement operation in an underground nightclub with the cooperation of various federal agencies.
Did you hear about the 40,000 Chinese students that are going to be deported back to China? So in case you didn't know, for years, China has refused to take back all of their citizens that enter the United States illegally. And each one of those 40,000 individuals that I mentioned earlier had received deportation efforts, and China still refused to take them back. That meant that for years, thousands of Chinese nationals have been walking in the United States freely, even after receiving final deportation orders, because the Chinese government would not cooperate with retrieving their citizens. Now, this has been going on for way over a decade, and it made immigration deportation almost impossible to work with China. But this year, everything changed. After major pressure from the United States, the Chinese government finally caved, and they have officially agreed to take back Chinese citizens. And those deportation flights are starting to fill up. And because of this, over these months, 40,000 Chinese individuals that are Chinese citizens are finally being sent back to their homeland. They're Chinese citizens, but the media only wants us to focus on what's going on in El Salvador, what's going on in Venezuela. But deportation is not exclusive to Mexico. It's not inclusive to Ecuador. It's not exclusive to all of these nations that the media has been feeding us. And you can call it what you want, but I think that's a major win when it comes to our immigration policy. And this is exactly what I and millions of others voted for.
Trump has been deporting hundreds of Asian people to Panama and Costa Rica, and everything about this is sus. We don't know why Trump is targeting so many Asian immigrants, including children. We don't know if he'll continue sending vulnerable immigrants to random countries instead of letting them stay here while applying for asylum as required by US and international law. And we don't know what's next for the people already deported or if they'll be kept safe. Trump's team is clearly trying to hide their dirty work. The little information we do have is from journalists who've secretly made contact with some of the immigrants as they're being silenced and held against their will. The 135 people sent to Costa Rica weren't even told what country they were being sent to until after they arrived. Half of them are children who were forced to travel by plane and bus for over 10 hours without enough sleep or food. In Panama, authorities trapped hundreds of immigrants in a hotel and took away their phones and documents. They only have two ways out: either get sent back to the dangerous situations they fled, or be sent to a camp by the jungle where conditions are brutal, legal help is non-existent, and communication is severely restricted. Trump's team is out here claiming that the people deported to Central America don't fear returning to their home countries, but that's a lie. Journalists have found that many came to America to flee violence, abuse, or persecution, and they're terrified to go back. Dropping vulnerable immigrants in a random country with no access to their passports, a lawyer, and a safe environment is beyond cruel. Instead of respecting basic human rights and giving people the chance to apply for asylum here, Trump is putting them in even greater danger with no clear way out. We need to do everything we can to make sure these immigrants get the help they need, and we need to put an end to these deportations now. It all starts with demanding transparency. Use our form to tell your representatives to demand answers from Trump.
Breaking news in immigration. The Trump administration has deported 119 people to Panama from Asia. People from China, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Uzbekistan, 4 nations that historically have not really wanted to take their deportees back. Panama has taken them, put them in a local hotel at the end of the Darien Gap, and intends to ship them back by air or sea at America's expense.
Yes, and this is happening right now. A lot of Asian people, Chinese, Vietnamese, from Laos, from any country in Asia, they've been deported. Some of these countries, they have dictatorships, so some of these people cannot be deported back for their country, so they are sending it to South Sudan, they are sending it to Panama, they are sending it to all different kinds of countries, but they are not sending them back to China or to the countries that they need to be sent. And the Chinese community is not talking about this. And if we see how they deal with the Mexicans, that they can go to a construction site and get all the illegal immigrants, okay? Because we don't want to say 100% of the people that work in construction site, they are illegal. That will be unfair. But a big percentage of them, they are illegal. We know in this beauty, in this nails salons, okay, it is a lot of people they work there. They don't have their documentation, they don't have their green cards, they are not properly they don't have the documentation that they need for being in this country. So if ICE want to deport Asian people, they can just go to all those nail tech stores and get all the people there. And they are doing that. That's what they are doing, because they're just becoming more cruel by the day. ICE is not stopping them, okay? They just did a new thing that they're just gonna try to take citizenship away from people, okay? From people that will naturalize citizenship, and they are trying somehow. Because remember, the right to get your citizenship when you are born in this country, it was given first to African Americans, okay? And now they just planning to remove, because Trump cannot stop being a racist. You know how he is. So let's keep watching. You're gonna like it.
I know I've been posting a lot about the deporting situation, and you know, my mom, like yesterday, she told me, hey son, you should probably not speak too much on this topic because it might cause a problem for us. That's the exact reason why this is a problem. Whenever there's a problem, Asian people go, oh my God, and nothing changes. That's probably the biggest thing that pisses me off about Asian people. You realize the current situation is literally a crisis, or a crime against humanity. Look, I think 70 to 80, 90% of us can agree that if they take illegal immigrants that commit crimes or whatever, look, that's whatever, okay? But they're stripping people of citizenships, and they're also taking people that are citizens. So what the hell does that mean for me? I was born here as a citizen. I can't imagine my mom or my sister, or think about it, like you're a close family member, imagine they just get taken for whatever good reason. And at this rate, they're not even finding a good reason. You know what they're doing? Oh, he's brown, let me take him. Oh, he's yellow, let me take him. That's literally what's going on. So that's why we're in this crisis of literal, ethnic cleansing, if you want to think about it that way. And I'm not exempt because I'm Korean. And then all the Asian influencers watching right now, stop posting about your, here's my favorite boba, or like, oh, here's my get ready with me. No one cares. And at least talk about the topic first to show that you're a human. And then you can start posting about your freaking stupid get ready with me. Oh, here's my favorite boba. Nobody cares about that right now. So at least address the issue, and then you can stroll on with your life. You'll probably gain a lot more followers that way. And who am I to say this when I only have 2,000 followers? Yeah, I know you're probably thinking that, but guess what? There's a lot of things that happens behind the scenes, and I've seen tremendous growth. Thank you guys so much for hearing me out and sharing my content. I appreciate you guys. It's time to go to the Ignacio. Let's go.
They're getting deported because illegals leech off the system. Well, that's weird. Then why is ICE grabbing them while they're at work? They wouldn't have to worry about ICE snatching them up if they would just self-deport. But when they do try to self-deport by buying themselves a ticket back to their home country, the day before they're supposed to self-deport, on the day that they're supposed to check in with their ICE officer, they snatch them up off the street and then detain them. Well, they should have done it legally then. But people like Chao Zhu, who has been here legally since 2019 seeking asylum status, were picked up by ICE during his hearing, claiming that he had allegedly broken some sort of immigration law. And even though he has no criminal record, got his master's degree here, and works as a software engineer, he's still being deported. And yes, I was very deliberate in using examples of people that look like me, because it's very obvious and no one is refuting the fact that brown people are being targeted. But people who look like me are pretending like it can't happen to them. Just a quick reminder that East Asians, specifically Chinese, were the first ethnicity to ever be banned from coming into this country via the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. And again, in 1924, when this country, the United States, via the Immigration Act of 1924, banned all Asians, East Asians, South Asians, all of us from coming into this country. So even if it's not just to do the right thing and you're just worried about how it might affect you or someone you know or love, now is the time to speak up and say that this is not right. Thank you. Please stay safe.
And I had to close this video with the other side of the coin. Yes, I wanted to close this video with a MAGA Trump supporter. She's from Asia. I don't know what country of Asia she's from, but she definitely is from Asia. I believe she's like a Filipino. And she's gonna tell you the MAGA point of view among all these deportations, okay? So prepare for this. It's gonna get really sour.
People find it wild that I'm an Asian conservative speaking out on and for deportation. What I find even more wild is that you believe you can break the law without consequences. Let me be the voice of the millions of other immigrants that stood in line to follow legal process to become legal, to permanent resident, to naturalized citizen. And let me ask you, who in the world do you think you are to bypass the United States law, entering U.S. soil illegally, then demanding due process? I speak for millions when I say we don't care about your rights because you never cared about the millions of other people who stood in line while you cut in front of us, causing delays in the system, taking away resources that could speed up the process to become legal or bring our loved ones here. And let me say, we are absolutely not the same. So when you see a person who is brown skinned like I am speaking on illegal immigration, I highly am disgusted of every single one of you. And I guarantee you a lot of other people follow and agree with what I'm saying.
Thank you for staying for the end. Please don't forget giving a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel to grow and it helps other people to find my content and my video. And comment below, what do you think about the whole situation with the Asian people? How they don't believe that they are minority themselves, okay? How this is happening, and which part of the United States or this planet you are watching me from. Just leave your state or the flag of your country, and just let me know. I would love to know from you.